After 22 long years, Jedi Bob has somehow returned with set number 75388, Jedi Bob's Starfighter. It has 305 pieces and costs $40, a price that is certainly questionable, and we'll find out throughout the course of this review if it is worth picking up at that $40 price tag. Now, this set is actually based on the LEGO Star Wars short called Rebuild the Galaxy for Disney Plus, and it does have the accompanying box art. I'm not a huge fan of the multicolor bricks and tiles on the side. I think it just makes it look a little bit messy, but the actual art on the set does look very cool, as it has Jedi Bob's Starfighter zooming through what looks like a grass field with some rocks in the background. And while at the time of recording I haven't seen it, in the trailer it does show Geonosis transforming into a grassy biome, and so I can assume that the background is actually Geonosis, and this whole set basically takes place on Geonosis. And that's pretty cool because I think it's a callback to Jedi Bob's original appearance in LEGO Star Wars with the 2002 Republic Gunship, which of course has Geonosis box art and was made for the Battle of Geonosis and Attack of the Clones. The Geonosis transformation theory may also explain why we have an Ackbar Trooper included in this set. Flipping over to the back of the box though, we have Jedi Bob Starfighter landed, and you can see that Ackbar Trooper taking his shot at Jedi Bob alongside a couple of highlighted features within Jedi Bob Starfighter. Moving into the minifigures, the first one we'll look at is Jedi Bob. After 22 years, why wait any longer? Jedi Bob in this set is really good. They did Jedi Bob justice, certainly. Bringing him back with the yellow skin tone instead of a modernized flesh skin tone was the right decision, and it really pulls on the nostalgia strings. The most new feeling thing about Bob is that he has a second facial expression that is way different than the classic smile that we've seen for 22 years. Since Bob's last appearance, they have introduced a newer hood piece. However, they used the classic one for this set in particular, which is also definitely the right choice. As far as the torso print for his Jedi robes is concerned, this is where you can really start to notice the weathering that's also noticeable on the face, but it's super noticeable on the torso. They have made this character look like he's been in someone's toy collection for 22 years. That's certainly something I didn't expect with this figure, but how you feel about that will certainly depend on your personal desires, as if you wanted a clean, brand new, out-of-the-box 2002 looking Jedi Bob, well, this unfortunately is not going to be that. I would certainly not say it's bad, but it may not be of your personal preference, and that's certainly something to note in this review. I do personally like it though, and it does add a really neat charm to this Jedi Bob. The cape has the spongy cloth material that LEGO has now, which should allow us to place Jedi Bob inside of his Starfighter without destroying the cape, which is definitely nice. It should wear nicely over time if you intend to play with this. And then finally, his lightsaber. On the box, it might look like the lightsaber hilt is chrome. It's not. It's just the normal, like, pseudo chrome lightsaber that LEGO Star Wars makes now. It's not chrome like it was in 2002. Speaking of, there's 2002 Jedi Bob. It's pretty dang cool to see the original from 2002 right next to the 2024 one, and what you actually may notice is the biggest difference between these characters might not be the tattered printing or the newer face print that you're gonna get, but that the old LEGO figure was done in old gray compared to the newer dark bluish gray used on the 2024 figure. And I think that's a really stark contrast there. When you see them side by side on their own, you'd never really notice, but when you have old gray and new gray next to each other, it definitely stands out like a sore thumb. This figure is very cool, and while it's not a one-to-one replica of the original like the 20th anniversary LEGO Star Wars minifigures were, it, I think, does Jedi Bob justice. The next figure is very odd with the Ackbar Trooper. It has a calamari head on top of Clone Trooper armor. A super weird mashup, but in Rebuild the Galaxy, mashups are kind of the name of the game, so it's not a surprise that this character is in here in the form that it is. It's just extremely odd, and I don't think I'll be army building Ackbar Troopers. As far as this figure is concerned, though, the actual Mon Calamari head, or maybe Admiral Ackbar head, I'm not entirely sure what it's intended to be here, but it looks very good. It's well done, and the Clone Trooper armor is equally well done. It's the same exact plain Clone Trooper armor that we saw introduced in 2022, so nothing special there. The third and final character in this set isn't a minifig. It's not an astromech droid. It's the Gonk droid here in Servo, SRVO. It's got a nice looking printed tile on its face, and the green color for the eye is definitely a nice choice, as it definitely contrasts well to the rest of the Gonk droid. Outside of it having a different color scheme, though, it doesn't do anything special as a Gonk droid. So as a Rebuild the Galaxy set, I think this figure selection is quite good, but also as a LEGO Star Wars set with a fan favorite character made as a throwback for the fans, it would have been neat if the other characters were also the same thing. In another world, I envision this set coming with a classic 2002 style Clone Trooper and a metallic blue Super Battle Droid just for the throwback vibes, but this set isn't necessarily that, but it also is at the same time because it's still Jedi Bob. So I just just wanted to give you my pipe dream minifig selection for this set, but in reality, we get the Rebuild the Galaxy characters here, and they're cool, and obviously Jedi Bob is stealing the show, and Jedi Bob was really all this set needed. Everything else is superfluous. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine Jedi Bob would actually get his own set, but I'm literally holding it in my own hands. We'll put a pin in that thought, though, and actually talk about this Starfighter on its own merits and how good I think this Jedi Starfighter is. First things first, the triangular shape of this Starfighter feels very sharp thanks to the very pointy tip at the front of Jedi Bob Starfighter and its paint job. The paint job is also in kind of a triangular pattern throughout the Starfighter, and it helps make it look like an extra fast, extra cool Jedi Starfighter. The hyperdrives fitted underneath the front of his ship also help make it feel extra fast. You can see the intake there using an ice skating piece, looks very nice, and the exhaust uses yellow, which I think is a pretty cool color to go against the red and white. There's a good full view of exactly how those are attached to the bottom of his Starfighter. It's pretty sturdy and they shouldn't be falling off very easily. We've also got this triple engine setup at the back of the Starfighter. Most of the other ones, if not all of them, get 2 at the back, but Jedi Bob's got 3. Here's a full view of the entire underside of Jedi Bob Starfighter. It's definitely more hollow under here than I expected. Many of the older Jedi Starfighters are just bulkier in this area, and it leads to this Starfighter also feeling much lighter than I think you may expect. There's still a couple of other functions down here on the bottom of Jedi Bob Starfighter, though, with landing gear, which kind of feels useless because they've got one piece back here, and these could also function as landing gear, but the actual landing gear piece does prop Jedi Bob Starfighter up slightly higher than the hyperdrive rings, but honestly, they're pretty effective too if you forget to put the landing gear down. There's also a couple of white clips underneath, and that's where we can attach Jedi Bob's lightsaber hilt and blade. Now we can take a look at Jedi Bob's cockpit. The first thing I want to say is that the area around the cockpit, I really like that it expands outward and kind of contours with the cockpit. And here's Obi-Wan's from 2022, in case you weren't sure what I was talking about. Oh, and I gotta cram this in somewhere. I totally appreciate that they fixed the gap issue from Obi-Wan's. Back to Bob's, you can definitely tell he's using some illegal window tint, but it will open up very easily. The headrest at the back looks solid, and it's got a standard printed control panel for LEGO Star Wars. Certainly the biggest downside here has got to be some giant gaps that are at the bottom of it. Dropping Jedi Bob in should be pretty simple. Drop him in, try to get him to attach to his studs, and close that up. He definitely looks quite amazing in there. Right in front of the cockpit, there's actually a hidden compartment. You can just pull up on this piece here and you reveal a banana and blue milk. Now I'll pretend like I'm not sure why and like money isn't the answer, but I don't know why they didn't print the blue milk in this set. It just doesn't make any sense. It's a $40 set. Print the blue milk. But yeah, Jedi Bob keeping a banana and blue milk in his frunk is certainly not what I had in my bingo card for 2024. The only other play function found on this set is going to be the spring-loaded shooters, which are located right underneath the main blaster cannons, which I thought might rotate, but they don't. They are completely stationary, so just a bit disappointing there from a play perspective. Now you can shoot off the spring-loaded shooters very easily, just push on them, easy to reload. You've probably seen these in a million LEGO Star Wars sets at this point. Next, I want to discuss the stickers on this set. I think artistically they are very nice, and they add a lot of cool detail to Jedi Bob Starfighter, but certainly I can understand the people that want printed parts in what is now a $40 Jedi Starfighter, so yeah, there's quite a few stickers here, and it would be nice if they were printed, but I suppose LEGO could only do that in 2002 when they were nearly bankrupt, not in 2024 when they're making more money than ever. Wait, that doesn't make sense. The color scheme for this Jedi Starfighter was so perfectly chosen, by the way. It was a blank slate for Jedi Bob. It could have been anything. It could have been gray and brown and yellow for Jedi Bob, but they went with a color scheme that feels like it's paying homage to the original set that Jedi Bob came in that 2002 Republic Gunship with the red, the white, and the gray. It just feels so perfectly Jedi Bob to me. Now, I don't do this in many of my set reviews, but I feel like a review of Jedi Bob Starfighter would be incomplete without a swooshability test. Wow, 10 out of 10 swooshability. All right, fun's over. It's time to talk money. Is Jedi Bob Starfighter worth $40? Well, when you compare it to Obi-Wan's Starfighter for $30, it definitely is a little bit bigger, but part of the justification for Obi-Wan's costing $30 to begin with was that it included Taun We, which required a brand new, unique mold for the Kaminoan. That type of thing is not present in Jedi Bob Starfighter. Now, Jedi Bob is a special, very cool minifig, but it's not like LEGO incurred an extra cost to bring him to life. It feels to me like they tacked on an extra $5 tax just because because this set includes Jedi Bob and they know people will buy it. And there is another way to look at value for a set like this. If you intended to buy the old Jedi Bob on a site like eBay for $100, well, $40 for Jedi Bob and a whole set is a stellar deal by comparison. So the frame of reference does matter, but generally when talking value on Lego sets, what really matters is, what does it really cost Lego to produce versus what you're paying, not what you would have paid on the secondary market for another thing. So I definitely think this set is too expensive, but I don't necessarily think that should deter you from buying it at full price because it is a special set with Jedi Bob, but that's also what Lego is counting on. So like, do you really want to give into that? I mean, I certainly did. As for an overall rating on the set, I couldn't have asked for a better Jedi Bob Starfighter, and him getting his own set is like almost crazy enough for me to go 11 out of 10, but also knowing deep down inside that Lego Star Wars was never going to re-release Jedi Bob. After effectively telling fans to pound sand after the 2020 minifigure vote, I'm extremely grateful that Rebuild the Galaxy has come along and brought Jedi Bob to life, basically forcing Lego Star Wars' hand. So I think I can give this set a 10 out of 10. We know it's imperfect, but it's Jedi Bob finally in the flesh or in the plastic, and I'm just really happy about that. So let me know what you think about Jedi Bob Starfighter in the comments section below, and you can see all my other 2024 set reviews on the end screen now.